Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Hello out there in Radio Land. This is Hank Hill, Assistant Manager, Strickland Propane. Come on down to Strickland where you can get a great deal on the new Char King 320 propane grill. We have other propane grills and propane accessories for your grilling needs. So come on down. Mention this ad for an extra 5% off of your next propane tank fill-up. That's Strickland Propane, Harlan, Texas. Have a great day.
I tried to fight all through the night, deep in the heart of Texas. The trailer park is nice and dark, deep in the heart of Texas. That drinks his brew and he spits his chew, deep in the heart of Texas. The TV blares, but no one cares, deep in the heart of Texas. Here we go!
Hello there, and welcome to Bois, King of the Hill Rewatch Podcast. I'm Mike.
And I'm Rusty.
Rusty, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Season 3, Episode 6. I'm doing fine.
Episode 6. I actually watched the right episode this time.
Peggy's Pageant, Fever. Peggy's.
Yeah.
Peggy's for short. Okay, so let's get a couple things out of the way real quick.
Okay.
Do some housekeeping.
All right, so I set up a YouTube. So we now have a YouTube. It's going to take me a minute, so bear with me to get all the back catalog up there.
Sure.
This episode you will find on YouTube.
Okay.
I will be, because I'm not, once I play catch up, I don't want to play catch up twice.
Sure. Yeah.
So I will be making sure all new content is uploaded.
Oh, man.
Who knows when you'll see it, but it'll be there before the end of the week. This is Monday, December, whatever. So it'll be there eventually for sure. Oh yeah!
There you go.
So we have that, and that's Bois KOTH. Is the handle for that
on YouTube.
Yeah, or you could just type in Bois King of the Hill podcast.
So we have moving pictures, is what you're saying.
It's a still picture with some movement in it.
I see.
I mean, there's the episode where there's a graphic that I used that is from the episode where Hank Hill is smoking his cigarette, and I put a glowing end on it.
Very
with
nice.
A moving smoke.
So it's almost like those lo-fi images.
Yeah. Just like the lo-fi.
I know a couple of things.
There you go. He knows a little lo-fi. There you go. He probably watches a little anime, lo-fi anime music.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on there. So I'll make sure that the content gets uploaded as quick as I can get it on there, as often as I can get it on there. So with that being said, we also thank everybody for voting for us.
Yeah,
we don't know what the result is yet, obviously.
Nope.
But as soon as we know the result, we'll let everybody know.
We're either pregnant or not.
Yeah, they're pregnant or not.
Right.
Do you have anything?
I don't really have anything. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody.
Yeah. So everybody, you can find us on BWAAKOTH on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. I always forget Facebook.
Your local farmers market.
Yeah, your local farmers market.
All right, let's get started here. We
Alrighty.
have Season 3, Episode 6, Peggy's Pageant, Fever.
Oh, yeah, also, I did forget something. This episode
brought to you by the letter P.
by RDX. This one is specifically sponsored by RDX. Artie donated a laptop to the show.
Guy.
So I have to make sure to shout that out. I didn't want to forget that before we got too deep into the show. So shout out to Artie. And
what a guy.
I appreciate
That's
that, man. Thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah, so we're using that right now.
It's a
to
beautiful
produce this show.
silver little laptop there.
Yeah,
It's,
appreciate you, buddy.
lovely. All right, no bell, no yell.
No bell, no yell.
That's right.
Yeah.
We start off with the guys working on the truck, and then it just pans over to Nancy and Dale's house, and we see the pictures on kind of the mantle or on a shelf. And the funniest thing to me is that you have a picture of the family, and then you have a picture of shirtless John Redcorn right next to the family picture, which is lovely. And then we have the Miss Arlen picture of Nancy, and Peggy is just kind of looking at it. Nancy comes in and she says, "Here you go, Shug. 2 Shugs, right?" And
Two Shugs.
She hands her
2
coffee.
Shugs, right?
Yeah. She says, She says, "They asked me to be a
2
celebrity.
Shugs.
They asked me to be celebrity judge at the Mrs. Heimlich County Beauty Pageant next week." I'm going to have a hard time with Miss and Mrs.
Mrs. and Mrs.
during this thing. So if I screw those
Mrs.
up, y'all give me just a little bit of a
Yeah.
break.
MRSA, well, isn't that like a breathing disorder?
MRSA?
MRSA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. How did that come out?
Well, you said MRSAs,
MRSAs. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Or a man
MRSA.
purse, a MRS.
A Merce.
Yeah.
Sure. That's what it
Or a hearse for monkeys.
is. A hearse for monkeys. A hearse for monkeys?
Yeah, a MRS.
That's a Merce.
Yeah.
It runs on bananas. Sad bananas. And so Peggy says, "Mrs., wait, do women mature enough to have a family really go in for that nonsense?" And right away, that's kind of a crappy thing to say, right? Because she knows Nancy's been a part of this crap. Nancy says, "That nonsense, Shug, changed my life. It's what got me into television, into hundreds of homes each night as a weather analyst." That's a stretch.
That is a stretch. A weather analyst? Yeah, that's a real stretch.
And she says, and you'd be surprised.
She's analyzing something.
You'd be surprised at
John
the top-notch
Redcorn.
prizes at the Mrs. Heimlich. And Peggy, the biggest prize Peggy can think of is bath beads. She says, "Bath beads?"
Yeah, bath beads.
It says, "Try a year's lease on a brand new Chevy Silverado LTK 1500 pickup truck with a super cab and 270 horsepower, 5.3 liter Vortec V8.
That's a mouthful.
That is a mouthful. That's a hell of a truck.
270 horsepower, though. If I figure you'd want a little more than that. Out of a hyper, they're
have
hyping
no
it up
idea.
to be. It's an LTK 1500 pickup truck with a super cab, 2.7. You mean?
Yeah.
Just think it would be a.
I don't know.
Be at
I
least a
do
little
not know my
500
horsepower.
You don't?
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I drive a truck, but I have no idea. Peggy looks at it at the pamphlet, and she's just like, "I want that truck." When we look at the pamphlet, it shows the white Chevy truck on the Mrs. Heimlich County Pageant preliminary application form that features fantastic prizes and television exposure.
Yeah,
That's what it says.
that's what it says.
All right, next scene, we see Peggy and Hank in bed. I want you to know that later on in this episode, I figure out what time it is when they're in bed. Just so stick around for that exciting revelation. Peggy says, "Hank, do you think I could win the Merce's Heimlich pageant if I entered?" And Hank just he doesn't even roll over. He goes, "You see, Peggy, that's what we call a loaded question. No matter how I answer, there's a bullet in every chamber designed to blow my brains out."
That's a mouthful from
Which is
Hank.
great.
Yeah, that's a mouthful from him.
She says, "Hank, do you think I can win?" He says, "Well, I think you're beautiful and smart. You don't need to enter some pageant to prove it." And he kisses her, which is going out of the way for Hank.
Well, he's trying to
honestly.
dodge.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's a
yeah.
loaded gun. He's trying to dodge as many bullets as he can, so he's got to fire at least one off.
Peggy's
too.
good at loading that chamber, too.
Oh, Peggy's this particular episode
Oh,
too. Shit, boy, she says some real mean ass shit.
She says, "Hank, you don't think I can win, do you?" He said, "I didn't say that. I just don't think you're the pageant type." Really? Well, let's see. All you have to be is married and over 23. She's reading the pamphlet at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I've got
I wonder
that
why
covered.
married is a requirement.
'Cause
It's
it's a
kind of weird
Mercedes.
too. Oh, it's a Mercedes.
She says, "Well, I've got that covered. So how would we rate me?" And this is the craziest mouthful of words that's ever come out of Peggy's mouth. She says, "How would you rate me?" I would say face A-. And again, this is her talking about herself.
She's nuts.
Body B+, personality
batshit.
A+, and brains A+. So with my smarts and looks and muchos talentos, well, I think I have a huge edge over these bimbos. Bimbos. Huh, Hank? I'm going to enter the grand prize as a truck. Hank's like, "I got a truck."
Yeah.
She says, "But I don't." He says, "You have a car." She goes, Hank, a car is fine, but a truck is a force.
A truck is a force.
And he says, true. I mean, he can't argue with that.
He can't argue, yeah.
Yeah, in Texas, truck is a force.
Truck is a force. You must have truck.
He must have truck or monkey hearse.
Or a monkey hearse.
Next, that's a great band name, by the way.
Monkey hearse?
Yeah, that'd be a great
that
one.
would be a good
It's
one.
a good band
Yeah,
name.
that is a good band name.
Next day, we're in the...
If I hear that band name out, I'm suing whoever.
That's right.
whoever
Artie,
says
don't start that
yeah.
band.
What if he calls it orangutan hearse? Does that still count?
Well,
That might be offensive to someone.
I think it's monkey hearse, orangutan paddy wagon. I think are the two.
Paddy
Yeah.
wagon.
All right, so next day we are in what I am now going to call the breakfast nook. This is their dining room, basically, right? But sometimes it's breakfast, sometimes it's not. It's where they gather to eat when they need more than like 4 chairs.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like yeah.
It's where they had
just
Thanksgiving.
a little, yeah,
You know?
just a little hole in the wall.
So Luann comes in. Hee! She's just screaming at the top of her lungs. She goes, I can't believe I'm going to be an actual beauty pageant stylist. Oh, I already have some ideas for styling you. I've always wondered what would happen if you let your hair dry naturally. It's just so
Yeah.
weird. It's a weird thing. Because the thing that I pictured was Peggy every morning with that damn blow dryer, just blowing out her hair, making it big as she could. Peggy says, okay, let's not go crazy, Luann. Remember, we're working together to make the best Peggy Hill possible. Love when she talks in the third person. Personally, I think a little lipstick and a pair of nice earrings will win that truck. That's it. She
That
thinks,
is it.
screw
She
it, I'm
thinks it's
Peggy Hill.
like
I can do whatever I want.
Pop, pop.
Yeah.
Done with it.
Now we're in the alleyway with all 4 of the guys. That's Hank, Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer, and they're all looking at the pamphlet.
I like how she's humbled, though. I love the humbling, the whole experience of
That
her being
happens to her?
humbled. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
it really is good. So they are all looking at the pamphlet. Bill says, that's a good-looking truck, Hank. Boomhauer, yeah, man, we're talking about a dang old 270 horsepower, man, skip play package Z71 off-road suspension, man, that dang old K15, man, dang. Thank you very much. Enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I did.
I think I screwed up my throat.
Dang.
Hank says, yeah, all Peggy's got to do to get that truck is win the Merce's Heimlich County pageant. And that is the most pregnant of pauses before anybody even answers.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a very awkward,
Spoke volumes.
long. It was a very loud silence. You're right. It was a very loud silence.
that was a
for sure.
pregnant pause with twins.
Yeah.
So finally, Dale answers and he says, yep. Boomhauer's like, yep. And nobody's looking Hank in the eye or anything, right? Hank's like, yep, that's right. And then Bill says, Peggy's going to win. She's every man's fantasy.
Yeah.
What is his deal with Peggy?
I don't know. He's got some weird obsession with
He
her. I don't
does
know.
have a super weird
Well,
obsession with
maybe
her.
he's like he's like living I think he lives vicariously through Hank.
Yeah.
Because Hank has the perfect life.
But what
in
is
his
it
eyes.
about Peggy, though? I
I
mean,
don't
like,
know.
he
Well,
is
I
just...
guess it's the loyalty that Peggy shows
Yeah,
because
maybe.
she is faulted in just about every way, and this particular episode shows how faulted she is, but she still is loyal to a fault in a way too.
The thing is, though, too, like, we see Peggy when she was younger. She looked zero different. I mean, she looked exactly the same the entire time, even though Bobby thinks she looks different here in a second. But Bill says she's every man's fantasy, and Hank's like, okay, Bill, I'll take it from here. He goes, Bill says, I mean, she's got an A+ brain, A- body, but if she wears one of them push-up brasiers, that's enough for Hank.
She'll have a body that just won't quit.
Yeah,
Hank was kind of
like,
that was
no,
enough for him
we're
right there,
good, we're good. Because he knows that Bill has a thing for her. Now we see Peggy at the car dealership. She's looking at the white truck she's going to win by default.
Yeah, she's like going to test drive it.
Yeah, she's like
that.
I gotta
that
go look at
again
my truck.
shows the megalomania that she is. She is so narcissistic that she's gonna go all the way down to the dealership, waste somebody's time, a salesman, because that's their time. They're trying to sell that car. If you go down there,
they don't get paid if they don't sell.
They don't get paid for that hot rod.
That's right.
So yeah.
So the salesman comes out and says, "You like that truck, don't you? Would you like to take it for a test drive?" She says, "Well, I wouldn't say no."
No, yeah.
And then when she's driving the truck, which is the next scene, it sounds like she's super heavy on the clutch, like it's going, like it needs
Like
to
she's
kick
not
into
driving
gear.
very
It needs
good,
to kick into gear, and the salesman is in the passenger seat. He says, "Now here's something that a pretty lady like yourself will appreciate: a driver's side vanity mirror." Now that's a really sexist, crappy thing to say, but
it could sell in the 90s. You know, it was a time where, you know, the women of the 90s were very accepting of, you know,
Well,
it was a very relegated part of society.
I was
going to
say,
yeah.
you know, Peggy appreciates it because she looks
didn't
right in the
care at
mirror
all.
and
She's
goes,
like, "Oh, I do
I
look good in this truck." Well,
Also,
that's the
this
thing
is so
is
dangerous. He's doing it,
Yeah.
showing her while she's driving.
While she's driving, that's exactly right. Yeah.
there's,
She's
I mean,
like, oh yeah, that's great. She's just still driving down the street.
there's just as many women that like to be told they're
Hotbox in the
pretty
clutch.
as there are women that don't.
Say that again.
I said there's just as many women that like to be told they're pretty as there are that don't. You know,
boy,
what I mean? I
oh boy,
feel
that's
like,
going to be on your
yeah,
tombstone.
Yeah, probably. Yes. I'm sure. I mean, there's a fair amount of men who find themselves attractive, and there's
Sure.
a fair amount of men who don't find themselves attractive.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same for both sexes.
I think it's just
it's a confidence issue.
an eyeball thing.
I've met some of the
Some
most
people got bad eyeballs.
dog ugly human beings that have the most confidence in
Yeah,
the world.
that's true. That's true.
And that's what it's about. It's all about confidence.
Pete
It's
Davidson.
about your insides.
Pete Davidson is a very good example of that. Yeah, he
and
is
I
one
wouldn't call
ugly
him.
dude.
I wouldn't call him ugly. He's just goofy. He
no,
looks.
he's
He
ugly,
looks
man.
goofy.
He got them sunken eyes,
He's just a little goofy looking.
tall, lanky.
But they say that it like.
I think
that-
he's got a big downstairs.
That's what I'm saying. They said it. It
Yeah.
hits. It hits
It's
his
the
knee.
energy. You see energy.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got BD energy.
Yeah.
That's that sounds like an Axe body spray. BD energy.
BD energy.
I don't know why they haven't done that.
There's
Hey,
probably
Axe.
an Axe spray. It is big dick energy
It
Axe
probably
spray,
is,
and it
yeah.
probably smells like a Bigfoot's dick.
So the guy says, "So what's it going to take for you to buy this truck today?" She said, "Oh, I'm not planning on buying. I'm planning on winning a beauty contest. Test drive's over. That's it. I mean, is it?
Y'all didn't have
I
nothing
don't
like
blame
that
you.
back when you was in high school. Any kind of like weird phenomenon of sprays that people just wore, or like scents that people wore so heavily to mask whatever body odor they had.
Yeah.
Because when I was a teenager, Axe was just being
Yeah.
launched, and it was
Yeah.
targeted straight at teenage boys. It was all half naked
Axe-
women in the advertisements, and you know, as a teenage boy, hey, if I buy this
Yeah,
Phoenix
yeah,
Axe
sure.
spray,
Yeah.
I'll have half naked
Phoenix.
women all over me.
Phoenix
yeah,
Axe
that's-
spray.
That was one of
I
the scents.
still
Phoenix.
remember
Smells
this
like a rising bird.
one ad they had. I know we're on a tangent. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
No, we're
good,
good.
man.
One
That's
ad
what,
they
that's what this
had
show
where
is a tangent.
It's literally raining
Yeah, it literally
women,
is.
and then like hundreds of women running towards this one
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
All half.
All he
naked
did
for
was
some
spray it.
reason.
Yeah,
and just
Yeah.
run after him. And
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to admit that had an effect on me as a
Yeah,
kid.
Did
it
it?
did. It had an effect
Did
on me.
did
I
you
mean,
buy some
advertising
Axe?
works.
I still buy Axe.
Yeah. What's
Not religiously.
what's your scent?
I guess like Phoenix.
Really?
I told you,
It's
that's
just
the
the
most
color,
popular
isn't it?
scent.
Is it blue?
Yeah,
It's purple.
Oh, it's purple. It's the purple one.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
no, it's one of the most popular scents.
More
Yeah.
of an Old Spice
What would
guy
you
now.
say? What would you say it smells like?
Desperation.
It smells like a teenage boy that watched
Yeah.
way too much TV and saw way too many advertisements.
So Axe body spray
Same here.
was a thing when I was teaching,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So all
Yeah,
these
yeah,
kids,
yeah.
especially middle school kids, oh my god,
give you a fucking headache.
oh,
Yeah.
they would just spray it everywhere.
But that's the thing
I
is,
had to outlaw it.
it's different if you have like one kid that wears it.
Yeah.
But when you have
No,
half the
you got-
room, when
you
you
got a
have
whole bunch of kids,
when you
yeah.
only have like 6 girls to a room of like 15 or 16
Mhm.
boys, because the ratio is crazy in these schools sometimes, you're gonna get a bunch of Axe. Or not even Axe, just whatever they
When,
use. It's just heavy. Like I just don't understand why, as a kid.
There's a
I used to do that with cologne when I was a kid. Where as an adult, I use one spray and that's
there's
good.
an off-brand Axe. Like, isn't there an HEB version of Axe body spray?
Yeah, there is actually
Hill Country,
yeah,
Hill Country Stink,
yeah,
or
Hill Country
something. Is
Fair.
that what it is?
Yeah, Mahea water.
It smells
like Mahea water.
We don't hate you if you use Axe. And you're
No,
listening to this.
not at
No,
all.
no,
Not
no,
at all.
no.
You just
do
stink.
better.
Yeah, you just stink.
Just use
That's all it is.
less. You could use
No.
it, just use less of it.
When I was a teenager, it was Polo, Cologne,
Okay.
and Dracar Noir.
Oh,
You know, that
Dracar
kind of-
Noir.
Dracar Noir. Or Night Swept. Anybody get that reference? Night Swept?
No.
It's The Office.
Oh, The Office. Okay.
All right. Next scene, we are at Hotel Arlen. Big old banner outside says, "Welcome beauty pageant contestants." And I don't understand why it's in quotes. Because there's quotes around that
Yeah, I
phrase.
don't
I
get
don't
it.
get that. I guess beauty pageant? I don't know. So there's a lady up at the podium. Obviously, she's involved with the beauty pageant. She says, "Excuse me, y'all, before we get started, is there anybody here not connected to the pageant? You could please leave now." And then it pans
Yeah.
over to Bill sitting in the back of the room eating a hamburger and drinking a soda. And they all just kind of look at him. He finally gets up and leaves.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. He's just a weird dude.
It's a great scene, though. After that, she says, I'd like to welcome all of the Mrs. Heimlich County Beauty Pageant. In a couple of minutes, you'll get the chance to meet fellow contestants. But before you do, the reigning Mrs. Heimlich, Kathy Shears, would like to say a few words. Now, I got something to say about Kathy Shears.
What you got to say about
Kathy Shears looks like a Stepford wife that just got scared. Like her eyes
are pinned
are
up.
these giant platters, and she's just like, hey, here she comes. Here she comes.
Look
she got
out, here she comes.
She's got her sash on. She just look. I wrote down here, Kathy Shears looks permanently startled, is what I wrote down. She looks like a cat. She comes up to the podium. She says, what a long, strange, beautiful trip it's been. And next week, I will add the word sad to that because I will be handing over the crown to the new Mrs. Heimlich County. And then it pans over to Peggy
Hill.
and she's just like, Peggy Hill.
I like that. I like how they did the kind of how it says, I'll be handing over the crown to the new Mrs. Heimlich County, and then Peggy Hill.
I like the fact that
I
the
like how
damn
they did that.
truck is in the same room. That's what I like. That's my favorite
It puts
part.
the
Is that
pressure
the truck
on.
is in the damn room.
And it's
yeah.
running, and like everybody in there is probably like gassed
everybody's
out on
looking at
carbon
the truck.
monoxide.
So
It's idling.
we're still at that, and they're just kind of milling around and having their meet and greet. Peggy walks up to a lady and says, why, hello, I'm Peggy Hill, with all the confidence in the world.
Yeah.
Lady says, oh, hi, I'm Helen Pell.
Pell.
So what does Peggy Hill do when she's not competing in a beauty pageant? She says, well, I'm a substitute teacher at Tom Landry Middle School. Oh, really? I teach science full-time over at the high school. What do you teach? Espanol. She said, I had my second honeymoon in Spain. Have you ever gone?
No.
Peggy says no,
Yeah.
but it's because I choose not to.
to.
That's bullshit.
Like, why in the fuck would you even say that,
That is
anyway?
bullshit.
Like, who in the hell would even just say that to somebody? Like, hey, man,
when people say that,
have you ever gone to Paris or you ever been to France?
No, I don't wanna do that.
But
No.
who wants to go to France?
Nobody wants to
you
go
know?
to France. Nah, screw that.
Fuck, man. Freedom fries. I can eat
spray-
those here.
Spray some Axe
Yeah.
spray and turn the other way.
There you go.
She says, you should go. You'll love it. I practically lived there for a couple of months after graduating from college. That's where I met my husband, the engineer. And then Peggy proves that she is Peggy.
Yeah, she's very
She says the
Peggy-ish.
kind that drives a train. The lady thinks it's very funny. She thinks she's kidding around, but Peggy is not kidding. Peggy
no,
literally
Peggy's-
thought she's married
Peggy's
to a
funny.
choo-choo
Yeah, yeah.
engineer. Yeah. Lady says, oh, I'm going to have to look out for you. You're very congenial. So I'm assuming she thinks she's going to kill in that miscongeniality.
I thought she was being more snide than anything.
What, the lady?
Peggy.
Helen Pell?
I don't think that
Peggy?
Peggy was being oblivious.
No, I think
you
Peggy
think
was
she's
just
oblivious?
stupid.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think she was just like, engineer? Oh, okay, you drive a
The
train.
guy that
I think
drives
that's
the
how she
train?
was, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we're still at the meet and greet. Peggy is now over at the snack table. Only reason I know that is because she eats a piece of, what's the green stuff?
Avocado?
Al-Qaeda? Is that what you said?
Avocado.
Oh.
Not
She said
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda.
You been watching documentaries or something? I was like,
What's
been watching Bin Laden documentaries.
I was like, what's the green stuff? Oh, Al-Qaeda. No, that's not.
Did you see that movie SEAL Team 6 recently or
No,
something?
man, no. She's
With
eating
John Cena?
No, she's eating the stringy green stuff.
Lettuce?
It's a vegetable. It's green. It's
Cucumbers?
light green. It's
Oh,
stringy.
celery.
Thank you.
Celery, y'all. We're looking for celery. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Celery
We
for the
need
win.
more celery. Actually, celery
Takes
is,
more calories
yes,
to
negative.
eat it.
It's you
Yeah.
actually you go to a deficit eating it.
Yeah, I hear that
How
from
much do you have to
everyone
eat to
who
lose
eats
weight,
celery.
though?
You know
How much
what I
do
mean?
you have to eat to lose weight?
Oh, you have to eat a shitload of celery to lose weight.
So I wonder how long you could survive on an all celery diet.
Oh, not long. I think you would. Number
Does it-
one is
does
so
the-
much water, right?
Okay,
You
so
would
there's
just-
no
you would just
nutritional value
pee
to
your
celery?
brains out.
I wonder what the nutritional value is.
I think it's probably pretty close to zero.
Well,
like,
because I know cucumbers
iceberg
heavy in
lettuce.
water too, though. But I know cucumbers heavy in water. But cucumbers.
well, cucumbers are different
cucumbers-
though. They are dense, right?
Yeah, they are
Celery's
dense.
dense, but
It's
it's like
dense in a
there's
different
nothing
way.
there.
You
Yeah,
gotta
just
heat
a
something
stringy
with
dense.
it. Get
Yeah.
like
It looks
peanut
like
butter or
3D
cracker.
printed
peanut butter
vegetable.
with the raisins, right?
You
Ants
know,
on a log.
You know, it's the first 3D printed vegetable.
Celery?
You know, like the pattern of celery, like how celery is
okay.
when you eat it. It looks like a
I thought maybe
3D printed
somebody
vegetable.
actually
No, but that's what it looks like to me. I think it looks like if a vegetable in the wild were to look or appear 3D
Sure.
printed,
Yeah, because of the
I think it would
strands.
be celery. Yeah.
That's why my father never liked celery because of the strands. And
You know, my dad is the opposite of
kind
that.
of like celery.
Everything he cooks that's like a stew or a soup or anything like
Celery
that
salt.
is laden with chopped celery.
Oh, really?
Everything. He just loves he uses chopped celery literally. If he's cooking something that requires like a spaghetti sauce, chopped celery.
Chopped celery and spaghetti.
Like chopped celery.
Gives it a little
soup,
texture.
Sauce, chopped celery.
Loves that celery.
Yeah.
Peggy is at the snack table. She walks up to a blonde. I'm not real sure what this lady's name is because I don't think she ever says it. She says, oh, really? You know that there are other contestants who teach as well because they're already having a conversation about this. Peggy's like, yes, I know. I met them already. I suppose you're a, biochemist or something? Oh, no. I'm a stay-at-home mother. And you can see the relief on Peggy's face whenever she says that. But then the lady's like, but I have 7 kids, so that's a full-time job in and of itself. Do you have any children?
8.
Peggy just
What the
immediately
hell?
goes, 8.
8.
Just trying to outdo her.
Trying to outdo her, yeah.
And she goes,
Can I do one more tangent?
yeah, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is I know I'm sounding stupid here, but
No, you're good.
if anybody's listening and you don't have kids yet, if you do have kids, please don't have 7. No one needs to have 7 kids. There's too many people on this planet.
Well, you know, unless
Don't
you
have
have a
7
farm,
kids.
unless you have a
Stop
farm,
at 1.
unless you
But
have a farm and you need farm hands, don't have more than 7 kids.
Or if you have 7 brides, you need 7 brothers. Right? Do y'all not know that musical? 7 brides for 7 brothers?
Oh no, I've never heard that one
Okay.
either. I've heard of 4 funerals and a wedding.
Oof. Boy, oh boy.
Have you ever heard of that one? 4
Yes.
funerals and a wedding.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I watch all number-based
Number
movies.
based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 funerals and a wedding. 4 brothers for 4. 7 brothers, 7 sisters. SEAL Team 6. I do anything that has a
SEAL
number.
Team
Does
6.
this mean we're going to be expecting a numbers podcast at any point?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll all be
The
numerology.
TV show numbers.
Yeah, the TV show
there you go.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I won't do. No,
Hey, that's
I'm
a good one though.
I'm just
That's
kidding.
not a bad show though. That's actually a really good show. I think.
So she just responds with 8, and then no, I only have 1. She's just so she's so depressed that she only has one kid.
I really like the shows where they have like the super nerd that is the main like protagonist
So all
in the show.
CSI. Oh, the main protagonist.
You know, like what's the one? Man, I think it might be Numbers. What's the one with the guy with the? He's got kind of like long brown hair.
I mean, David Krumholtz?
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's numbers.
That's Numbers. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, him like that. I mean, they.
Yeah.
Or
all
isn't there a guy
CBS.
on Bones too? That's kind of like that.
Oh, there was.
I think it was.
And
it
then
might
you
have
have
been the Bones
Agent,
girl.
and then you have and then you
That's
have
who it was. It was her.
the really nerdy guy on NCIS, Agent
watch
Gibbs.
NCIS.
You
well,
know
you
what's that
used to have the girl with the ponytails.
one? Not Agent Gibbs, but the other.
You know
guy
the one
that's
with
underneath
the
him.
black hair with the ponytails. She was always dressing like she was a goth girl, but she was like 73 years old or whatever in real
Oh,
life.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she left after a while.
Yeah, because she broke
Such
a
a
hip.
riveting episode, everybody.
She-
How many tangents we keep going on.
She broke a hip and had to leave. All right, so we're still at the meet and greet. And she is talking, Peggy is now talking to this young, pretty blonde girl. And the girl says, well, right now I'm majoring in philosophy and classical music. And again, one of the worst things that Peggy could say.
Yeah, worst things you could
She
say.
goes, oh, how nice for you. Well, that'll get you a job in a factory when you get out of college. I just wrote the word yikes next to it. It's like, whoa, that's
yeah,
rough.
They're rough.
But the
Little
girl
roughage.
just kind of sloughs it off, and she says, that's what my mom says, too. Peggy says, now you do know you have to be 23 years old or older to be in this pageant, right? She goes, I am 23. Do you have any children? Well, no. I'm concentrating
on my.
And she starts to say it,
Interrupts her,
and
yeah.
Peggy's like, oh, well, I have one. Anyway, nice meeting you. Good luck in the pageant. I mean, it's just boom, 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 right? And so she just kind of looks around at all the pretty contestants in the room, and then finally she sits down on the stage right next to the truck and just kind of puts her head in her hands. Lou Ann comes running over and says, isn't this exciting, Aunt Peggy? Everyone's so nice. Mrs. Heimlich County let me try on her crown and sash. Did you know she could play the lap steel guitar and she only has 9% body fat and it's all in her breasts? So
Wow.
there you go.
Yeah,
there you
tisk,
go.
tisk.
That is where Peggy gets pretty super depressed about this thing. And that is where we'll take a commercial break, and we will be right back. Hey, Rusty, you ever been in a limo?
A limo.
Yeah.
No, poverty sucks.
So
I've seen a limo.
Sometimes when you're in a limo, there's a little glass partition that the driver can put up so that they can't hear what's going on in the back, or you know, there's a separation between you and the servant.
La partition.
La partition.
Yeah, so
So what are we talking about?
We're talking about a St. Angeles candle.
St. Angeles.
Saint-Angeles.com/candles is where you can find these candles at. And the one that we're burning today is a little sensual for two men to be burning. We might have to blow it out before it gets real steamy in here. So this has got a, I don't know, it's a really sensual scent.
Sexy ass scent.
You got like dahlia and orchid, beautiful flowers, you know, beautiful floral scents. Dahlia.
Orchid.
No, I love this one. Yeah, no, it's a very moody.
Yeah. No, it
foggy.
smells. It smells wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, it's a very
I've caught my beard on twice. Beard on fire twice trying to smell it.
Mike,
I
put
like
your
it.
pants back on.
Yeah. So give me the breakdown on this candle. Why is it called La Partition?
It's called La Partition. Well, according to the website here, the description, it says, you might need the driver to roll up the partition when you light this candle.
Roll it up, driver.
With hints of dahlia and orchid, the sexy scent will definitely leave you with handprints and good grips all on ya ass. Dim the lights, set the mood, and fog up the windows with this limited edition scent from St. Angeles.
St. Angeles. Buy a candle.
Yeah, buy a candle. So if you use the code BWAA, if you use the code KOT, I was about to give the handle for the Instagrams and stuff. If you use the code KOTH20, it'll get you some percentage off there, and it'll get you a discount. So get on there and get to get some of these candles. These are awesome candles.
They're
we
beautiful.
really love them.
They smell great.
Yeah, love them. Can't say enough about them. And coming down the pipeline,
give them the website one more time.
Oh, the website is saint-angeles.com/candles. For this specific candle, you could type in /LA-partition after candles, and it'll take you directly to this candle. Don't forget to use the code KOTH20 at the checkout.
Gross.
All right. So that particular line used in that song was a line from Beyonce's Partition. And disclaimer here, we are not responsible for any children conceived while this candle is burning. St. Angeles.
Oh, yeah. All right, we are back from that very creepy commercial, and we are at the Hill House. Bobby is just kind of on the couch, lounging, looking through a photo album, and Peggy is cleaning the coffee table. I mean, like super cleaning the coffee table. She can see her face in it.
Yeah,
right?
she's polished it. She shined it. She probably hit it with a little,
Pledge.
high grade grit. She probably sanded it down a little bit. Probably threw a nice varnish on it. I mean, it's slick. That sucker looks slick.
Did y'all use Pledge? Was there Pledge in your house?
Lemon Pledge.
I think my stepmom used Fabuloso.
Fabuloso.
Yeah, we got a lot of Fabuloso.
It's the one where people almost drink it, right?
Alcoholics.
It comes in very.
I heard if you strain it through bread, you could strain the chemicals out of it and get drunk off of it. Maybe, I don't know.
Then you feed the bread to your pigs.
Yeah. No. Another thing with the Fabuloso. If you put a little bit of it in like a small pan, and then set it on the stove, and put it on like low heat, the aroma will have your whole house just smell like.
You don't even have to clean your house at that point.
No, you still have to clean.
You just heat some up.
Yeah, but you know what?
Everybody
I've
goes,
always
God, dang, your house is
I've
clean."
never done that because I've never understood.
Sounds like a fire hazard.
Not a fire hazard. It sounds like a lung hazard.
Sounds like you're cooking
heating
meth.
up cooking. Or you're heating up cleaning supplies.
Yeah,
We at Bois are not responsible for any dumbass that tries this.
Please don't drink Fabuloso.
Yeah, I
do not
that
condone the drinking
Pine-Sol.
of Fabuloso or the eating of Tide Pods.
No, don't eat Tide Pods, please. Save them all for us. So Bobby, anyway, she's looking at the Shine-Ola on her coffee table, and she sees herself in it, and she's just kind of taking stock. But Bobby is over there looking at this photo album, and he goes, "Oh, Bobby Hill, you rascal, you!" And he just sees a picture of himself with just covered in food as a baby.
Yeah.
Peggy says, "That's when you used to put food everywhere but in your mouth." And Bobby,
Whoa.
like, he takes it serious. He goes, I was young. I didn't know any better.
I didn't know any better.
She says,
Well, he does take food seriously, so
well, that's absolutely
you
true.
know. So when
Yeah.
he saw that, damn, you rascal,
It
you
would've
didn't
been a
even know
fruit
what
pie.
you were doing. That's what he was
Yeah.
saying. He was like, all that food everywhere, and you could have ate it. What were you doing, old Bobby?
Peggy, they keep looking through the photos, and Peggy says, oh, I haven't seen this photo in such a long time. Bobby's like, oh, who's that kissing Dad? She says, well, that's me, honey. Really? You were beautiful. Were is the word, he says. And she goes, were? Oh, Bobby, I still am.
And then you got
Jeez, I
you get
still
this
am.
like not a real heavy pause like we got earlier, but you get a little slight pause where Bobby's thinking of how can I say something to not say anything.
And
So
Bobby's
he's just like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
She says, Bobby, don't you see, when you look at me now, you can't see somebody who's beautiful. You just see a mother. He goes, I don't know. I think Connie's mom is beautiful.
And Miss Gribble.
Mrs.
Yeah,
Gribble.
but he started to get aggressive
Yeah.
there.
And she's
just
like,
for a
all right,
second.
all right,
She's
all
like,
right.
chill now. All right now.
He said, hey, there's me standing next to the world's largest roadrunner. He sees that picture in the photo album.
Yeah.
And again, here's your evidence for bad Peggy.
Terrible.
She
says
says
it fast and sharp, too.
Are you still having those nightmares where he pecks your eyes out? And Bobby he like freezes.
Yeah.
And he goes,
oh, I forgot about those.
I forgot about those. Peggy's like, oh, good. That's rough for
That's
a mother.
rough. Yeah, that's terrible.
That's his mother.
Yeah.
All right.
That's maternal warfare.
So we go to bed with Hank and Peggy again, and here's where I saw it. It is 9:36 in the p.m.
It is 9:36
9:36,
PM.
and they're in bed.
They're in bed at
And
9.
Hank looks like he's been sacked out for a while too. 9:36 p.m.
Who goes to, I couldn't go to bed at 9:36 if I tried.
I go to bed at 9:36, but I do not go to sleep.
Well, if I went to bed at 9:36, I would be there for a very long time.
My wife and I, at this point, about 9:30, 10 o'clock, we're like, let's just go in there, and we turn the TV on in the bedroom or whatever.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't. I generally don't go to sleep till probably 12 o'clock or something like that. I just keep the TV on. I put my headphones in,
Yeah, watch your stuff.
I know when she turns over, it's time to get up and move to the other room. Or
Yeah.
something. So Peggy is just tossing and turning and grunting and groaning. Hank turns over and says, Peggy, you all right? She says, oh, Hank, I can't sleep. She turns on the TV, and I want to make a point. We have never seen this damn TV.
No, we haven't.
And this TV is in the way of the shot at this point.
Yeah, it is.
I have never seen this friggin' TV. I'm assuming it's on rollers because
it's gotta be.
there's no damn way that TV's been there that whole time.
Nah, I don't know. This is one of them weirder scenes with continuity.
She turns on the TV and you hear gunshots and stuff. And she goes, boy, Cagney and Lacey certainly have aged horribly. Do y'all remember Cagney and Lacey? No.
I have heard of
I have
Cagney
heard
and Lacey.
rumors of a Cagney and
I
Lacey.
know it's a cop. It was a cop thing in the 80s, right? Or 70s?
70s?
80s.
I thought it was like 80s or 90s.
I don't know.
Right? Cagney and Lacey? Oh, look, both of them. Both of them are looking it up with their technology.
Oh, okay. It was 81.
There you
7
go.
seasons.
Okay.
So
81,
almost
yeah.
90. Okay, so 80s. But it was some cop, right? It was like one of those police dramas or
Yeah, it was a
whatever.
buddy cop thing, basically,
Yeah.
but it was two women instead of...
Oh, Martin Cove was in it?
Yeah. See? Look, now we got to
I
start
don't even
that.
know who Martin Cove is, so good on
He's
him.
Reese in Cobra Kai. And before that,
Oh,
Karate
okay,
Kid.
okay. So he's the Karate Kid dude. Okay.
Be on the lookout for Mason's new podcast, Cagney and Lacey Time. All right, so she turns on the TV, talks about how Cagney and Lacey have aged horribly. She says, Hank, do you think I'll turn into one of those women you see at Megalomart who wears white stretch pants and doesn't tuck in her shirt anymore? Who in the hell is she talking about?
Walmart people, I guess.
I guess so, right?
Or Megalomart.
But don't tuck their shirt in. That's the low point. And white stretch pants. I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like if
For
I go,
her, I can imagine that being the low
I
point.
feel
Well,
like
'cause she
though,
always
if I,
dresses, the
Proper.
same way every day.
I feel like she's wearing culottes all the time. But I feel like if I go somewhere nowadays,
Yeah.
I'm going to see nothing but women in stretch pants.
Oh,
Right?
That's pretty much that's
Stretch
like the
pants
common,
are like the new pants. I
Yeah.
mean,
that's what everybody wears is
yeah,
leggings.
yeah,
We are more accepting of people being comfortable when they go out now.
Yeah, I mean, look how I dress.
yeah, and I
every
don't
day.
like it. I don't like it. They need to change all that.
Yeah, I'm usually wearing PJs
Bring-
most of the time.
Bring back pipes and bow ties.
I'm going to come in tomorrow wearing my pajamas. How do
That's
you like
great.
that?
Or
Well,
a cummerbund.
I'm going to try real hard not to come in on a Sunday. So She says, am I going to turn into one of those people at Megalomart who wears white stretch pants and doesn't tuck in her shirt anymore? Hank says, not for many, many years. So obviously she's going to happen. Hank is literally, he's trying to sleep real hard. She goes, oh, so you thought about this. It doesn't matter what the hell Hank says. He's going to get attacked. She's already got it in her brain. She's ready to attack him. And this is her closest ally. I mean, Hank always takes up for her, but she is ready to pounce on him. He sighs loudly because she's like, oh, you've thought about this. And then we hear Bobby from the other room, not my eyes. Hank says, I thought he stopped having those nightmares. Yeah, his mother literally put that in his head
She put
so
that
that he
back,
could have a nightmare.
In her
put that evil on
defense,
Bobby.
she does look like she feels bad about it.
Yeah, I can't tell anymore with Peggy whether she feels bad about it.
But does she feel bad about it? If you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it, do you feel bad about it? I don't know. I don't think she feels bad. I don't think she feels bad at all. I don't think that Peggy felt
really?
bad. No, I don't think she feels bad.
Okay.
If she felt bad, she wouldn't be such a piece of shit everywhere else. On every other episode.
We're at
like kidnapping Mexican children.
We're at Strickland Propane in Buck's office.
Yeah.
Buck says, come on in, ladies, take a load off. Peggy says, thanks. He says, well, I don't believe I've had the pleasure of meeting this little filly before. This is a creepy Buck, right? This is creepy Buck. He's just looking at a young girl. He's looking at Luann. Peggy says, well, yes, you have. Mm-hmm. Your daughter? She said, no, she's my niece, Luann. Which, when did he meet her?
Who?
Buck. When did he meet
Buck.
Luann?
Would have been at the. No, he wasn't there.
Maybe at the cook-off thing?
Maybe if she was there, but I don't remember her being there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Was he at the Megal? No, he wasn't at Megalomart.
No, I don't really remember him meeting her, but whatever, Peggy.
Well, it would have happened eventually.
I'm assuming that he's always around because, I mean, he is part of that universe. So he says, oh, well, there you go, darling. He pulls out a chair just for Luann. Luann's like, hee, oh, thank you. She loves it when she gets any kind of attention. Now, what can old Buck Strickland do for you? You said you had some kind of business proposition, did you? She says, and this is Peggy, Mr. Strickland, a beauty pageant can be a good promotional opportunity for both the beauty contestant and for the businesses who sponsor. Say no more, I'm in. Because he thinks that Luann.
Yeah, he thinks it's Luann. So he's under the impression that he's about to give all this bread over.
All he thinks is he's going to be able to see Luann in a bikini, is all I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, he's pulling an old DJT on us here.
He says, how much do you need? She says, well, there's a new tennis outfit, makeup, new dress, hair. We figured around $2,000. $2,000.
Do you think Buck Strickland would have grabbed him by the pussy if he was in charge?
Oh, yeah. Buck is a personal
You think he's that kind of guy?
Trump, sure.
Yeah.
He says, Debbie, write me up a company check for $2,000. He says on the intercom.
$2,000, boy.
And
he was quick too.
I think my favorite part of this entire episode, well, there's two parts. One is where the dog's barking, but this one, where Debbie on the other end of the intercom says, "Right away, Buck." I mean, she's just like screaming.
Oh yeah, she's ready too.
I
she was
love
ready
that.
To fork
Like,
money
did
over.
she think it was for her? I don't get it.
No, she's like, "Right away, Buck." It's just such a great line.
Right away, Buck.
Peggy says, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Strickland. I guarantee you that I will win that Mrs. Heimlich pageant. I will not let you down as my sponsor." And you see it just wash over Buck's face, and he said, "Well, Mrs., what the hell is she doing here?" She says, and he's pointing to Luann. Peggy says, "She's my stylist, and like yourself, a big part of Team Peggy Hill."
That's
and so
at that point,
Buck is back into the intercom, and he's like, "Debbie, did you finish writing up that check?" "Yes, Buck." I mean, she screams it again.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, okay."
He's like, "Oh, damn."
He's already committed. He could say, "I'm not paying for it."
He could,
but anyway.
But you know, old top.
Buck is ridiculous. Yeah,
old top. You got to take care of old top.
Old top. The next thing we see is
speaking of Buck Strickland, while we're on Buck Strickland real quick, I got a little real life story here to add to this. So I deliver wine right now, actually for the Sum of Our Thoughts. What's her name? The wine shop in town. That one, the wine shop in town that she works at.
Carter and Sarah.
Yeah. I actually work at the warehouse that distributes the wine for that shop.
Oh, that's great.
So I had to go pick up some wine in Stonewall. Do you know what the importance of Stonewall, Texas is?
I do not.
Lyndon Baines Johnson is from Stonewall,
He's from
Texas.
Stonewall, huh?
And I'm gonna fact check that real quick, but I'm pretty sure that's where he's from.
Lyndon BJ.
Yeah, he is from Stonewall, Texas. So while I was out there, there's these wineries and stuff that are out there by the ranch, the old LBJ ranch. So I was like maybe like half a mile from his childhood home.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. In relation to the show, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
Next time I go out there, I'm going to get a picture and I'm going to post it on social
You
media.
should, yeah.
I'm going to.
I'm sorry, I have to say it.
What's that?
Was Lyndon BJ's on his free time?
That's a good
He
line.
might have.
I
Yeah,
like
that's a good
that.
one.
That's a good
I
one.
mean, he's dead. No one cares.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cared anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody cared. The next thing we see is they are practicing for the big pageant, and we see a bunch of tennis rackets going in the middle. Do you guys know what I'm talking about if I talk about those Water Follies movies?
Water Follies movies. No,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Look up Water Follies movies. So they used to make all these movies where like these women would be on the side of the pool and they'd all jump in. You know.
Yeah, I think I've seen like clips of those in like old movies.
Yeah. So that's what I think of when I see this because they're putting all the tennis rackets into the middle and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
And so we hear the Spice Girls with Tell You What I Want, What I Really Want running. And then it's over. And the pageant choreographer says, terrific, girls. Mrs. Hill, that was awful. We're going to go again. And this time I want Mrs. Hill to sit this one out. Watch me. Raymond, hold my cane. I don't know who Raymond is, but I just love that line. I'm going to start saying that to people. Raymond, hold my cane. Just everywhere I go. I will not. But now we're back in the makeup chairs.
You just carry a cane and just throw it at random people. Hey, Raymond, hold my cane and just toss it into a crowd and see who grabs it.
Yeah, I got to have a lot of throwaway canes. That's what it is. We're back
to whittling.
We're back in the back in the makeup chairs, and Peggy comes walking up to Nancy, and she says, "Why, Nancy, in the words of Billy Crystal, you look wonderful." Okay, number one, that's not the line. That is not the line. That's not what Billy Crystal said. He said,
Artie
"You look
corrected
marvelous."
us.
Yeah.
He already. That was one of the facts that he came in that you were able to.
You look
you already got
wonderful.
it, but yeah.
You look wonderful. Nancy's like, "Thanks, Shug. Oh, by the way, I was excited to hear that you entered the pageant." Nancy is being so nice, you know, and Nancy has experience at this too, and she's being super nice to Peggy. This is after they find out about Red Corn and all that stuff, but she's being just overly nice to Peggy about this thing that literally made Nancy's career, right?
Yeah, no, it did, yeah.
Peggy says, "Really? Oh, well, thank you. Maybe this year you and I can shake things up a bit at the Mrs." She says, "Yeah." Nancy says, "Shake things up? How?" She says, "You know, every year they pick the same type of woman to win. Skinny, big hair, bleached blonde." That's rough, man.
That is rough.
She's literally looking at Nancy.
Yeah, she's looking at Nancy and describing Nancy.
Nancy says...
She's doing that jackass stuff that she
Nancy says, "You mean women like me?" Peggy's like backpedaling now. She goes, "Oh, your hair's not bleached, is it?" She says, "Is it?"
Is it?
Nancy says, "What type of woman do you think should win the pageant, Peggy?" She's not calling her Shug anymore, so you know there's a problem.
Yeah,
when Nancy starts calling you by your name, you got problems. Peggy says, "Well, I'm not a judge, but a married woman, of course, not just a wife, but a partner, definitely a mother, someone who is distinguished by her brain size, not her bra size." And Nancy says, "Oh, women like you." She says, "Well, you said it, but I didn't."
Yeah,
but yes.
When she says that kind of stuff, that when you say that phrase, you're usually saying you're usually going to follow it up with something that's something really jackassery.
And Nancy's pissed off at this point because she's basically saying people like her shouldn't win these pageants.
Yeah.
And Nancy says, "I think women like you shouldn't be in a pageant if you're not prepared to be judged by women like me." Ooh. And that is tough, man, because she says that and walks off. I mean, that's just mic drop by. Oof. Peggy yells at her, "We could have shook things up, you and me." Nancy wants nothing to do with this. Next scene we see is Peggy. She's like styling, profiling in the mirror, right? Yeah. She's posing. She's wearing a I wrote down the word frumpy, blue dress, and she is looking at herself in the mirror. And Lou Ann comes in and says, "Oh, don't you look smart?" Anytime somebody says smart, that's a tough one.
That's not what she wants. That's not the look she's going for at all.
Peggy says, "Lou Ann, I think I want to put some highlights in my hair." Lou Ann says, Oh, like she's disappointed. You know, you would think Luann would be super excited about this.
Yeah, but she's not because here it goes.
Peggy asks her if she doesn't think it's a good idea, and then Luann,
says,
she's
no,
like,
it's not because it's just that highlights were a 2-part class and I missed both parts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next thing we see is them coming out the front door, and Peggy has these highlights in her hair, but it's more like an orange marker has just been applied to her head. She looks like, I wrote down Bride of Frankenstein.
It looks
here.
like skid marks in her hair.
It does. It looks rough.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
So she comes out, and they're getting in the car, and men can see over the fence, and she goes, hey, Buzzo, which is still rough. But I think men think she's just joking. You know, there's no way Peggy's actually going to go out like this. She goes,
you look like
where your clown car, Peggy Hill? You look like the Ronald McDonald, you bozo, Peggy Hill. And then the car,
she's so stuck
well,
up.
the car peels out,
Not
and
even
she's
say
like,
hello.
she's so stuck up, she didn't even say hello. Like, I guess, I don't know. That just,
Yeah, I don't know.
we are back at the pageant, and Buck is talking to Hank. They are looking at the flyer with Peggy on it, and this is rough. Peggy is.
Oh, it's super rough. It looks like the American Gothic, whatever. With
it looks like the old 1800s photos, you know, where it goes whenever you take a picture, kind of thing. Yeah,
like the one with the farmer and his daughter or whatever.
Yeah. And Buck says, you think your missus will like it? Hank says, yes, sir. He goes, well, I hope so. This is the most I ever spent on a woman without getting anything in return. You know what I mean? Why does he have to add, you know what I mean?
Because
you know?
that's what he does.
That's a little rough. Hank says, oh, don't worry about it, Buck. You back to winner. Buck says, well, she could have at least smiled. And Hank says, she is smiling. And that is rough.
Ooh.
That is rough.
Yeah, she looks real smart.
Yeah, she does look smart. We're back in bed with the Hank and the Peggy, and Peggy is looking at obviously a big ladies catalog, like mail order clothing. She says, if I order by 8 o'clock tonight, I can have my stretch pants by tomorrow at noon. I could be in them by 1, which such an overreaction with this.
It is an overreaction.
Right? She overreacts to everything. Hank says, Peggy, why don't you just wait?
We won't call it an overreaction. We'll call it a Peggy reaction.
Hank says, why don't you just wait a week and we can drive over to the Megalo Mart and get them in your new truck, huh? I mean, he's trying really hard.
He's trying to do what he
here.
can. Yeah, I mean, he like you said, it's a loaded gun, and he's trying not to get shot today.
Oh.
He's in the middle of a firestorm, trying not to get shot right now.
Peggy says, yeah, right, my new truck, and kind of forces a chuckle. And he says, stop worrying.
Boom. See, you hear that bullet whiz by Hank's ear? He missed that one.
He says, I love this. He goes, you got those fancy stripes in your hair, plus your best friend Nancy is a judge.
I think that one he took that one to the chest. That
Fancy
one might have hit him.
stripes in
Yeah,
there.
that one might have hit him. That bullet got
Peggy
him.
says, well, Nancy and I are not talking right now. He goes, oh, well, we just won't let her ride in our new truck, will we? And I mean, again, just trying so hard. Plus, he's ready to go to sleep.
Very canned.
Next, we see Dale in his own yard with one of those pouches and one of the trash. What do you call those things? It's like a trash stick that's got a point on the end of it.
Oh, I don't know what they're called specifically, but I know what you're talking about, like a poker stick.
Yeah,
I guess you call it a poke stick.
What do you think it's called?
A pokey trash stick.
I don't remember what it looks like. So I'm gonna go with Rusty. Trash stick.
It's like pokey trash stick. It's like the convicts use on the side of the road, you know, picking up trash.
I guess it'd just be a poker. I guess.
Oh, here we
It's
go.
a pokey stick.
It's called a trash picker pin, according to Amazon.
That's not much better than
or
pokey stick.
A trash pickup stick.
Okay. He's in his yard picking up cigarette butts that he obviously has dropped. I don't understand why he didn't just cut out the middleman and pick them up himself. Hank is coming around the corner, and he's got a plate full of brownies. He's trying to win Dale and Nancy over onto Peggy's side. He's really being a dutiful husband here and trying to do all he can. He says, hey, Dale, Peggy made some extra brownies, and we thought you might enjoy these. Or he said, you know who might enjoy these? The Gribbles. So here you go.
Gribbles.
And Dale looks at it, and he's like, okay. Because you can never gauge Dale's reaction. I mean, he obviously thinks something's wrong, number one. Hank says, oh, and I'm done using my ratchet set if you want to borrow it. Dale, always one who pushes it.
Yeah, he always tries to get more than what he needs.
You mean if I want to keep it? Hank says, borrow it, Dale. He said,
Borrow it, Dale.
Just a little reminder, Hank, my wife is the judge of your wife's beauty pageant, so keep it. Hank's like, borrow it, or I'll step over this hedge and kick your ass. And he kind of makes a movement towards him. Hank, gives him that chest thump, and he just runs away.
Yeah, takes off running.
Ah! How Dale is. Now we're back in the makeup chair at the pageant, and there's somebody new doing Peggy's hair, her very orange striped hair.
Yeah.
Luann walks up and she says, "Excuse me, but I think you've made a mistake. You're teasing the wrong contestant's hair." It's okay. It happened to me yesterday. So obviously she just walked up and did somebody else's hair yesterday. Peggy turns around in the chair and she says, "Luann, honey, sit down for a second, please. Now, you're an excellent amateur stylist, but this is a professional beauty pageant." And then Luann says the smartest thing she says in this entire episode. She goes, "No, it's an amateur beauty pageant, Aunt Peggy."
Yeah, that's
she
what
is.
it is.
I just wrote down, she's right, right next to that.
Yeah,
because she
it is an
She's
amateur.
absolutely
It is
right.
an amateur contest, and she's taking it to the next level.
And then here goes Peggy again. She says, "See, Luann, amateur attitude, amateur performance." What a good God.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "That's why I've hired a professional. This is Marcy Struett, stylist to 3 pageant winners." And poor Luann, she's like, "Oh, my God, you're firing me as your stylist?" Peggy's like, no. You'll still be a very important part of Team Peggy Hill, but in a much, much smaller capacity. And then Luann just starts crying because,
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she?
Yeah, for sure.
Luann's fragile.
Luann's
By the
really
way, she's got
fragile.
all her hair back.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the fun facts for the day. Her hair is back to its full length. This
Yeah.
is the 6th episode after the explosion of her hair.
It's number 6 after?
Yeah, you remember, it happened
So you got to figure
at
it's
the end of season 2, and we're on episode 6, so at least 6 or 7
how long do you think this has
episodes. Not a year.
been? No, it's not. Well, it all happens in 1 year.
If it's canon, if that's canon,
Yeah.
if that's the way they're going to go with it. I hope that's not. Like, when they reboot it, I really hope that it doesn't really go that direction.
Yeah, me too.
I was listening to an interview from the Oh Yeah podcast, actually.
Oh, yeah.
They had an interview with the lady that does Nancy's voice, and apparently since she's done Nancy's voice, she hasn't had very much Hollywood work because she was
Yeah.
about 43 when the show ended.
Gotcha.
So a woman in Hollywood at 43,
Yeah.
unless you're,
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston or something like that,
Sure.
or someone that's huge beyond your name, huge. She's dying for the show to come back. Like, she's like
Oh,
ready
sure,
to go.
yeah.
She's like on the edge. Loving it. I can't wait for it to come back too. So she
I
can
tell
get
you
some
what,
work.
if we could talk to those
I
ladies
think
from
it's-
the Oh Yeah podcast,
I would
that
like
would
to talk
be
to
wonderful.
them. I would
Yeah,
like to
I'd
talk
love
to anybody to
them.
do with
Yeah.
any of the other podcasts. I got to line up with the other podcasts because they do want to. The Dang Ol.
Oh, good.
I told you
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah,
How you
that's
sent me the
great.
email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Luann is crying because Peggy has treated her like trash. And Peggy says, "Luann, see, that's the amateur attitude I was talking about earlier. That sucks, man. That sucks."
That's tough.
And then
That's
Marcy
tough.
Struett says, all right. Let me get a good look at you. Now turn around. And she's talking to Peggy. She wants Peggy to kind of model for her so she can see what she can do with her. Peggy says, "Can you save this?" She says, "This will be my greatest challenge yet." Peggy is her greatest
This will be
challenge.
my greatest challenge yet.
All right, so
It's
we
kind
are.
of menacing, isn't it?
It is super menacing. We're back at the Hill House. We got Hank and Bobby and Ladybird hanging out in the den. I guess is that the den?
Yeah.
Living room.
Living room.
Yeah.
Area, space.
Ladybird is just kind of scratching herself. Bobby's on the couch. Hank's reading the paper. And Peggy comes through the front door. You don't see her yet. And she says, "And the winner of the Miss Heimlich County Beauty Pageant, Peggy Hill." She comes around.
Peggy Hill.
Her hair is blonde. She's got a butt ton of makeup on. She's in a cocktail dress. I mean, she doesn't even look like Peggy, with the exception of her nose.
My mother would call this dressing like a trollop,
Trollop.
which is
I love that word. Yeah, it's English
British,
for
British
a prostitute.
colloquialism for a lady of the night.
Prostitute.
Or my southern it's my friend's grandmother, but I call her, she's like my grandma.
Yeah.
A lady of the night.
Lady of the night.
Yeah.
A lady of ill repute.
Or what is it?
Hooker?
No, red dyed hair. That was
Hardly knew her.
That was one of the things that she had about my friend's cousin getting her hair dyed. His grandma was she wanted to dye it red, and she's like, "You can't dye it red. Women of the night have red hair."
Women
I was
of
like,
the
"That's
night have red
terrible."
hair.
I was like, "Oh, what you saying that all women with red hair are whores or something?" Like, chill, grandma.
So Peggy comes in. She's got this brand new look, and she goes, "So, what do you think?" And immediately, Lady Bird starts barking at her because she doesn't even know who the hell she is. She's barking and barking, and Bobby says, "Whoa, Mom, you look like you could star in a headache commercial," which is, in Bobby's mind, that is a great compliment. You know,
damn, that's a good one from Bobby Hill. I'm gonna tell my wife that next time she asks me how do I look.
You look like you could
could
be
star
in a
headache commercial.
Peggy says, Lady Bird, stop barking. It's me, Peggy. Hank, you haven't said anything. Hank's like, you look, and then the barking continues, and so he's able to get out of it for a second. He says, Bobby, will you please take Lady Bird outside? Gee, look at you. Yeah, I'd kiss you, but I'd feel like I was cheating on you with another woman if I did. Peggy says, well, now's your chance to cheat on me.
It's a little odd.
I promise I won't tell Peggy. And then he leans in and almost kisses her on the nose. He makes a like that.
Barely.
But he doesn't even touch her nose whenever he does that. He goes, there. Boy, look at me. I'm having an affair. It's just wonderful. And then we see a scene of Hank and Peggy in bed. And now Peggy is all made up. She's got socks on her hands, so she won't scratch herself, I guess, like a baby.
I thought this was the scene where Bill was singing.
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
We're not there yet.
No, we get a scene where Peggy's got socks on her hands. She got the humidifier going, and she's got the big eye mask on. And Hank's just like, Jesus, what is happening here?
What is this crap?
Then we transition to Bill washing his car.
Yeah.
We get the song Taking Care of Business playing, and Bill cannot keep up with the lyrics.
Isn't this, was this on Jerry Maguire?
Oh, I'm sure it was. It's been on a billion movies.
I thought this was on the scene where, on Jerry Maguire, where, like, he slides across the floor in the shirt and underwear or whatever, Tom Cruise.
Dude, that's two different movies.
Is it?
Yeah, you're thinking Risky Business.
Maybe it is Risky
Business is the one where he slides across the floor.
But is it this song?
It's not this.
It's not this song.
It's not this song. No,
it's not.
It's a lot like it, but it's not. This
okay.
song.
Well, a lot of music was a lot like that back in the day, I guess. I was a kid. I don't remember.
Sure. But he just can't keep up with the lyrics. And then Peggy drives by he just looks like a starlet, going to Hollywood, driving by.
Yeah, he does.
And
I love Bill's face.
Oh, Bill just like, and not only that, he's got the water hose that's just going off the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like Bill's just completing himself there. Now we're at the pageant with Buck. And Peggy. Peggy's like, oh, you were right about the eyeliner. Oh, God, what was I thinking? Buck says, dang, I wish we had a picture of you looking this good for the flyer. Peggy immediately, spilt milk. He's like, yeah. I love that. Spilt milk. Now we are going in front of the pageant interview board. We've got a Hispanic man, a very old lady, and Nancy sitting there, and they are going to ask some questions of the contestants. First off is Peggy sitting in the chair, and she says, did you get the brownies I made for you as a friend, Nancy? As a friend. Nancy's like, yes, I did, Mrs. Hill. Shall we proceed? We're running a little behind schedule.
Yeah, schedule. She was very, we're behind schedule.
The man in there, he says, I see here in your application that you speak Spanish. And Peggy responds with, yes, absolutely.
This is Eric Estrada, by the way.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know
this
that.
Is Eric Estrada, from what I understand. According to our calculations, it's Eric Estrada.
So she says, yes, absolutely. I'm at Tom Landry Middle School. I'm a substitute Spanish teacher. She says all that in Spanish, right? Because she has practiced that many, many times.
Yes.
And so then the guy responds with some Spanish, and he says, the digital revolution has certainly changed all of our lives. And as a wife and a mother, how do you intend to cruise the information superhighway into the next millennium? He says all that in Spanish, and she just looks at him and goes, "Sí, amigo,
sí, amigo." Yeah,
it's so demeaning. So we're back at the Hill House, and Luann is very happy. She is humming "My Favorite Things," the song "My Favorite Things." Do you know what that's from?
Favorite things.
Quick quiz. What's that song from?
I know what it's from. Ask him.
What's it from?
I'm not gonna get quizzed on this one.
Oh no, wait, isn't that Marilyn Monroe thing?
No, not Marilyn Monroe.
Madonna?
No, not Madonna. These are a few of our favorite things.
What's it from?
It's from Sound of Music.
Sound of Music. That's right. It's the Von Trapp kids.
Which is a lot. That's like 40 years, I think, even before Madonna, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I've only seen the Sound of Music. I've seen parts of it once.
Yeah, she's.
I recommend it. Like watching all the way through. It's a really decent movie. Because I'm not really big on musicals at all. But the Von Trapp family, man, they had some bangers in there. There's some really good songs, I think.
Good night, good night.
That was great. That was really good. That was a whole fun scene. I really liked the when they go to the meadow and they do the sound of this is the whole Sound of Music theme or whatever. I love that part. It's my favorite scene.
A deer,
where they're down in the Alps or whatever, and they're down in the valley. It's so beautiful.
When she spins around.
Yeah.
But she is humming a few of my favorite things, and she is slowly but surely trying to take all of Peggy's stuff and put it down in the garbage disposal.
She's chunking all of her shit in the garbage disposal, which is freaking weird.
She's trying to put her glasses in there, and Hank stops her, and he says, Luann, I just spent 2 hours picking one of Peggy's shoes out of that disposal, and I'm beginning to think it wasn't an accident.
Yeah. That's a strong disposal.
Oh, boy, you're not kidding, because that is a size, what size is that shoe?
13.
13.
No, it's size 16.
16.
Ladies 16.
Ladies 16. A men's 16.
Luann says, why aren't you at the pageant? He says, Peggy went with Buck Strickland. I'm going a little later. She says, did she fire you too? Because she fired me. Hank's like, well, now, how I heard it, you're still an important part of Team Peggy Hill. And then Luann's just like, she snorts at that. Hank says, I know you're feeling a little miffed, but you have to understand your aunt has always had a lot of confidence about her looks, which is good, but now she's got herself in kind of a bind. And this is where we find out Hank really knows the scorer here. He says she's either got to admit to herself that she can't win the truck and or stay in the pageant and probably lose. Either way, it's going to hurt. And Luann says, well, I guess I should feel bad for her, but I don't. And she gets out the Pop-Tart.
Yeah.
So we're back at the pageant. We're backstage. Everybody's getting ready. And Peggy says, well, this won't work. I cannot go out there like this. And this is Marcy, her hairstylist, who is now her stylist overall. She says, is there something wrong? She says, yes. All of a sudden, my butt looks like it's dragging on the floor. Will you fix it? Marcy says, do you have any duct tape, Mrs. Hill?
So this is where we find out that Peggy Hill has not only been dolled up, she's been altered with duct tape.
Oh, that's what happens at these pageants. She says, will you fix it? And she goes, do you have any duct tape, Mrs. Hill? She goes, I used it all on my feet. Marcy shouts out to Buck. She says, Mr. Strickland. He says, yep. She goes, we need duct tape. He says, silver or gray? She says silver. He says, all purpose or premium grade. What the hell? I'm already in this for $2,000. What's another 90 cents?
Yeah.
Peggy just says tighter and tighter as Marcy puts that duct tape all around her butt.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that that's not all the duct tape. So Buck is kind of outside the curtain. He's just kind of waiting. Marcy says, oh, come on. She's trying to get that damn duct tape tight. Then we hear an announcement that says, ladies to the stage. Come on now. Let's go, y'all. And Peggy starts freaking out here a little bit. She says, well, where's my half jacket? I need my half jacket. She's looking on the coat rack. She goes, that's what makes this an ensemble, the half jacket. And she's just trying real hard. She finally finds it. She's trying to put it on. Yeah, she's trying to put it on. She's like, oh, come on, Peggy. You know how to put on a jacket. Talking to herself.
Yeah, try to get it on.
All the ladies are going out the door. There's a little girl taking pictures outside the doors. You see all the ladies come through. Then you see Peggy just struggling like crazy, trying to put on that stupid jacket, talking to herself. There's a guy there who I just put down as a handler. He says, pageant contestants across the street. He says it so weirdly. But they're all supposed to go across the street. And, you know, this is a weird scene because, like, I see the curb and somebody step off the curb, but then nothing happens with the curb. It seems like it's setting it up for somebody to trip off the curb. And I just kind of assumed when I watched it that Peggy was going to fall off the curb, you know?
Maybe they were gonna do that, but they
Yeah.
changed their minds.
Yeah, it kind of feels like. it,
Well, yeah, I thought she was gonna fall off the curb too, but she didn't even have no shoes on. How could you fall off the curb if you're
we don't know that yet. Hang on.
Oh, we don't know that yet.
The guy handler tells them all to go across the street. Peggy finally gets the half jacket on. She says, okay. Then her butt goes boing, and it falls out of the tape.
My ass has come
It
loose.
rips all the tape. Yeah, she goes, no, well, I guess this wasn't premium, you cheap bastard, talking to Buck, who is not there. She shouts out, Helen, by any chance, do you have any spare tape? My ass has come loose. I'm sure it's just the humidity. And then Helen, one of the contestants, and by the way, Peggy's walking so weird, holding her butt. Like she's like trying to keep her butt in.
She's got cupping her own butt or whatever it is. I don't think it's her butt.
Helen says, Peggy, I got to go inside. I also think I should tell you that you forgot to put on your shoes. And we look down, and Peggy's feet are all just wrapped and mangled in duct tape.
It reminds me of Chinese foot binding.
Yeah. It's like they're trying to bind the feet up. She goes, oh, no, this is not good. And then she hears a car honk, and she thinks she's going to get run over in the middle of the damn street.
Yeah, she does like a little like shield herself thing. Like her arm's going to stop her from getting hit by a truck.
But, of course, this is our moment. Hank gets out of the white truck, and he goes, like the truck? And Peggy says, Hank, what are you doing? He goes, well, I figured since you were only doing this for the truck, I'd save you the trouble. She says, honey, you bought us a new truck? He goes, no, I painted the old one.
Yeah. He got a can of spray paint and spray, or, you know what I imagine him doing?
She can't tell?
Go into Home Depot and grabbing 5 buckets of paint with a paintbrush and just like painting it like he would like a house.
Yeah. She says, oh, she's beautiful. And Hank says, yeah, she was before, and puts the glasses back on Peggy, kisses her, and gets in the truck.
That tells us such a deep story.
Before they completely get in, he goes, are those new shoes? And he looks down at her feet.
all mangled and taped up.
He can't tell if those aren't shoes. And he goes, because I like them. And then they get in the truck and they drive off into the sunset. And so what do we learn?
We learned that Peggy frantically tried to do all this when at the end of the day it really didn't matter. She
didn't do it at all.
She was trying to prove something to herself and failed the whole way because she was trying to have shortcuts.
Really did. Yeah.
And long story short, while you're young, don't smoke, don't drink, eat healthy, exercise, and you might look like a Nancy when you're that age.
Well, you got to
look like a Nancy to start with, I guess.
Fuck red corn, too. So we get the credits, and then we get a after-credits scene. We get in the kitchen with a towel on Peggy's head, and Luann's helping her. I guess she's trying to get the highlights out of her hair. Luann says, I'm glad you let me dye your hair back to its normal color. Peggy's like, even if you don't get it, that's okay, too. Luann's like, okay, here we go. And she takes the towel off, and all I wrote down was green troll hair. Like, Peggy looks like she's one of those trolls with the green hair.
Yeah.
Luann says, oh, no. And she goes, don't worry, Luann. We'll get this right soon enough. And then we get evil Luann going off, chuckling into the rest of the house, humming my favorite things.
She did that shit on purpose, too.
Oh, yeah, she did. Oh, yeah.
She made her look like one of them troll dolls on purpose. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, man. That's a good episode.
That is a good episode.
However, nothing really happens.
No, nothing really happens, but it is a good episode. I like that episode. One, yeah. It's real funny.
All right, so Rusty, tell them where they can find us and all that stuff.
All right, guys, you can find us at BWAAAKOTH, and that is at Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and which one I forget? Twitter, yeah, Twitter. So, want to thank everybody for continuing to pump up our numbers, man. We're
doing
just
well,
incrementally growing.
Doing well. I just love the fact that the audience is growing. You know,
yeah, that's great.
When you see the audience growing, that's what you want.
I'm glad that you guys are actively getting involved with us, and please don't forget to go over to YouTube. And I'm modifying the giveaway because I didn't forget about the giveaway, but the giveaway didn't like the way. I didn't forget. It just didn't work out the way I wanted to on Instagram, and I had to redo it all.
This is for stickers and all the stuff we're giving away?
Yeah, this is specifically for listeners, this giveaway here.
Okay.
So for the listener, if you hear this, if you listen to enough of our episodes and you get to the end of our episode,
you can hear our voices.
Go to BWAAKOTH, our YouTube page.
Okay.
If you can find it, go to our YouTube page and leave a comment on any video that's there.
Yeah.
And I'll write your name down, and I'll try to get a message or email to you for that.
And we'll give you some stuff.
And we'll give away some stickers.
Swag.
We'll give you some sticker swag.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's I guess that kind of wraps it up, huh?
Yeah, that wraps it up. Again, thanks for listening to us. We appreciate everybody's continued support, and got hopefully some cool stuff coming for you guys in the new year.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Wimitanye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.